Hey, good Monday morning. Today we are going to work on some more factoring. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor out our GCF, which is our greatest common factor. That's our biggest number that goes into everything, our GCF. Okay, so let's start off with a fairly easy one. And let's go 15x plus 3. Well, I know that if I look at 15 and 3, that I can divide both of those by 3. So I'm going to factor out a 3. Now, when I take 15x divided by 3, I have 5x. And when I take 3 divided by 3, don't just cross it off. We have to write 1. Now, double check your work. This is super, super easy. Like, there's no reason you guys should get any of these wrong. So if I take 3 times 5x, I get 15x. And I take 3 times 1, I get 3. Hey, look at that. It's exactly what I started with. If you get something different, then you've done it wrong. Okay? Now, so we're always looking for our biggest number. The second problem I have for you is 10m to the 5th plus 15m to the 4th minus 20m to the 3rd. Okay, if I'm looking at 10, 15, and 20, I know 5 goes into all of those. So I'm going to pull out a 5. If I'm looking at m to the 5th, m to the 4th, and m to the 3rd, the biggest amount of m's that I can pull out of each one of these is 3. I can't pull out 4 or 5 because there are only 3 here. I can pull out 3 here, but I'm going to have a leftover. And I can pull out 3 here, but I'm going to actually have 2 leftovers. So I'm going to have 5m to the 3rd. Now, when I divide 10 by 5, I'm left with 2. And I have 3 m's. I need 5, so I need 2 more. 15 divided by 5 is 3. I have 3 m's. I need a total of 4, so I need 1 more. And then negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. I don't need any more m's, so we're done. Now, if you have to, please, 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 there's nothing wrong with this. Distribute this back out to see if we get back to the original. Okay, next one. Negative 12x cubed y plus 18x squared y squared minus 24xy cubed. Well, these are all divisible by 2, but I think there's something even bigger that I can divide all 3 of these by. And we're going to divide by 6. Now, this next part is key. When I am factoring, we never, ever, 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 ever want to start with a negative inside our parentheses. So I do not want that negative inside here. So I'm going to factor out a negative 6 instead of positive 6. Now, if I look at these, if an x cubed, x squared, x, so I can pull out an x out of all of them. Then I have a y squared, y cubed. I can pull a y out of all of them. Now I divide. Negative 12 divided by negative 6 is 2. It looks like I need 2 more x's, and I'm set with the y's. 18 divided by negative 6 is negative 3. I need 1 more x, and I need 1 more y. Negative 24 divided by negative 6 is 4. I'm okay with the x's, but I need 2 more y's. Now, if I look at this 2, negative 3, and 4, and if they would still have something in common, I would have to pull it out, factor it out, and then multiply it back on there. Okay, now we're going to utilize this, and we're going to factor this even further. So I have 18 x cubed plus 3x squared minus 36x. Well, it looks like I can divide all 3 of these numbers by 3, and I can pull out an x. So 18 divided by 3 is 6. I need 2 more x's. 3 divided by 3 is 1. I need 1 more x. Negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12, and I'm good on the x's. Now, we need to see if we can factor this further. We're going to make the x, and then we're going to use a box if we need to. So I'm going to make my x, So we're going to our new smaller version. So I've got 6 times negative 12 is negative 72, and I have 1 on the bottom. Now let me go back. If you don't factor out a 3x at the beginning and you try to make your x, you'll probably be able to find numbers that will work. In fact, you will. You'll be able to do your box. However, when you get your parentheses outside your box and you multiply it, you're not going to get the same thing that you started with. So you have to factor out your greatest common factor first, or your factoring x in box will not work. Okay, so what multiplies to negative 72 and adds to 1? How about 9 times 8? 9 times negative 8? So I'm going to make my box. I've got 6x squared at the beginning, negative 12 at the end, and I'm going to use my middle ones. I've got 9x and negative 8x. 6 and 9 both have a 3 in common, and we have an x. 8 and 12 pull out a 4, and our first box is negative, so negative 4. 6 and 8 have a 2 and an x in common. 9 and 12 would be what? 3? And it's positive. Now, you'll have to use what you learned in the past. And I had you guys compare these two numbers to see which one was smaller. The 2 is smaller, so we're going to write our 2x plus 3 first. And then we write our 3x minus 4. Now, we pulled out a 3x to begin with, so we can't forget to put that on. Now, when you're typing this into the computer, the first thing they want is this 3x. Do not forget to put the x with it. Then the rest is kind of how we've been doing it. The next thing they want is 2. Then they want plus 3. Don't forget your plus sign. Then we want our 3. And then they want the minus 4. Don't forget the minus sign. Okay? Now, going back to this problem up here. In the computer, it's going to ask you for the GCF. 5m to the third is your GCF. However, you guys don't have access to the math tools. So here's how I want you to write it. I want you to write it as 5m caret 3. That little caret means our 3 is the exponent. Now, let's say I have n to the 5th behind it. I would just type in n caret 5 behind it. And that'll get you what the computer wants for an answer. Okay, last one here. We've got negative 40x cubed minus 70x squared. Looks like we might be divided by 10. Minus 15x. Bummer. Okay, can't divide by 10 because 10 doesn't go into 15. The biggest number that goes into all three of those is going to be a 5. And we want to make it a negative 5 because we start with a negative. And I can pull an x out of all three. Negative 40 divided by negative 5 is 8, and I need 2 more x's. Negative 70 divided by negative 5 is 14, and I need 1 more x. Negative 15 divided by negative 5 is 3, and I'm good with the x's. Okay, so let's try this. Let's see if we can factor it further. I've got 8 times 3, which is 24, with 14 on the bottom. 2 times 12. So we're going to make our box. 8x squared is at the beginning, 3 is at the end. Replacing my middle with 2 and 12, we've got 2x and 12x. So biggest number that goes into 2 and 8 is 2 along with an x. 12 and 3 is 3. First box is positive. 8 and 12 is 4 with an x. 2 and 3, there's nothing, so we're just going to put a 1 and the top box is positive. So remember, we're comparing the 2 and the 4. 2 is smaller, so we're writing 2x plus 3 first, followed by 4x plus 1. Please don't forget your negative 5x. So if you're putting it in the computer, remember it's negative 5x, 2 plus 3, 4 plus 1. So just remember, I am an email away. Please use it. Ask me lots of questions, and I will talk to you soon.